control the vertigo.
Welcome to Anthologic, the TV anthology podcast. I am your host, Mark. Anthologic is a podcast dedicated to exploring the good, the bad, and the odd of horror, science fiction, and the best of mystery suspense anthology shows and series on TV. Join me as we slip through the cracks of reality to approach the extremes of experience, where we can peruse the stories and art of a sinister fairground of strange and wonderful rides. And now we go on to the show that is the focus of this particular episode. Welcome to this episode of Anthology with your host Mark. Today we are covering The Twilight Zone, episode 6 of season 1 in fact, which is called Escape Clause. This one's written by Rod Serling, as are most of these, and directed by Mitchell Leeson. It was first aired on November the 6th, 1959, and it's one of the lighter episodes. It's a slightly more comedic in tone than some of the ones we've had, and it is also a very frequently told tale of basically someone selling their soul to the devil and how that works out. And I think we all know that those kind of stories, there's always some sting there. As I say, it's a well-worn tale. Faust is the probably most obvious example, but there's things like Picture of Dorian Gray and so on use this same tale. So, it starts with a character called Mr. Bedecker, who's a hypochondriac. He's a horrible human being, it appears. He's lying in bed, he feels like everything's going to kill him, he doesn't believe the doctors, and he's quite rude to them. He's terrible to his wife, he's very rude. It feels like she wants to kill him, and she's obviously a long-suffering soul. But what turns up is the devil. In this episode, he refers to himself as Mr. Cadwallader, but he is the devil. And I kind of like the fact there's a certain sort of cinematic trick here that he's lying in bed and suddenly the camera turns onto the mirror. So we've got a mirror image of what's going on. And then Mr. Cadwallader appears and eventually he comes back. The mirror seems to be a gateway thing in Twilight Zone, sometimes anyway. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Now, we get a good 5-6 minutes of him lying in bed and being a horrible human being, so we get a feel for his character. And then he cuts a deal with the devil. He tries to drive a hard bargain, and the devil is acting like, oh, yeah, man, this is a tough one, but basically saying, I've got to not age, I've got to look like myself, I've got to be invulnerable, as well as sort of live forever. And the devil's kind of just waving it through. But you kind of know there's going to be a sting in the tail, and it's kind of a fun scene. Both actors in this are very good. The actor playing Walter Bedecker is called David Wayne. I haven't seen him in much. He's been in a few things. The one I actually remember him from is the old Batman TV series. He played the Mad Hatter in that series, which did pop up now and again. So he's kind of, I know him from that. But he's been in all sorts of things. Apparently he played Digger Barnes in Dallas. So some people may remember it, but I don't know. It's not a show I ever watched. But he got replaced in that role after only 4 episodes, I think. Or maybe, the character. I don't know the details. But he played it for 4 episodes. Yeah, so he was okay. And the actor playing the devil was called Thomas Gomez. I kind of liked him. He had a sort of Sidney Greenstreet, maybe Ernest Borgnine kind of feel, but avuncular. He played a good devil. They do some good casting in this episode, I'll say. Those two were pretty solid. And the wife was okay. It wasn't that much written, but it was okay. I enjoyed this one quite a lot. It's and the title is Escape Clause, and the devil stresses, if ever you want to get out, there's a clause here where I can ease you on to the next thing, is basically what he says. Now, I'm going to spoil the story a bit because this is so old, but essentially, he makes this deal and, he's going to live forever and nothing hurts him, but he finds it boring. He starts doing things to get deliberately injured so he can get compensation from insurance. And obviously he's fine. But he's bored. It's not interesting to him. I actually also read the written version of this story in the Kindle book called The Twilight. It's I think it's called Twilight Zone or Stories from the Twilight Zone. It's on Kindle, and this is one of them. I think there are several Twilight Zones on Kindle, but this is the first one. And there's a few changes here and there. One thing added to the written story that doesn't come across in the TV one is the wife marries him because we find out the history of the pair is she actually married him because she felt sorry for him because he was acting like he was on his last legs, and she felt so bad she thought she'd marry him, and they've been together ever since. That is sort of an interesting. It indicates how long he's been this sort of terrible hypochondriac. Anyway, he kind of gets bored by all this. He goes up to the roof and he's thinking about jumping off. And he's just sort of discussing it with his wife, but she accidentally falls off. And rather than he's no compunction about that. The fact that his wife's fallen off and he's just lost her, he's kind of, okay. And he has a thought strikes him, and he says he murdered her, though he didn't. And the twist in the tale is that he doesn't, he wants to try the electric chair just for size, really. But the twist is he doesn't get the electric chair, he gets life. And the suggestion is life means forever for him. And he calls on the devil, which seems weird because A, they're never going to keep him in for hundreds of years. At some point he would get out. And B, he is being in a prison cell's got to be better than being in hell, I would imagine. So that bit of it does work. But yeah, it's a fun one. This is a fun one. I kind of liked it. There is a review here from the Daily Variety, a part of a review. This was a little gem. Good work, Rod Serling. This little piece about hypochondriac who gets tangled up with an obese clerical devil ranked with the best that's ever been accomplished in half-hour film television. Now, I won't put it that high, but I quite liked it. I thought it was kind of fun, and it's in my rotation, or it's one I'm going to think about whenever I read some sort of Faustian story. This one I liked a lot. So yeah, I'd say this is a high rated one for me. So yeah, try and get to this at some point. These Twilight Zones are actually hitting it out the park mostly. Actually, I'm really digging them. So enjoyed this one as much. So bye from me, and may I ask, is anybody out there?
We now return control of your television set to you until next week at this same time, when the control voice will take you to